up in the sky, the birds, the planes.
Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. And you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Yeah, James. Yeah, flexing.
Right there.
We're not ready for that on the Krypton Report. Ooh,
I didn't. You caught it like right at that second. It was immediate, like boom.
That's how we do here. It's like James.
Yeah.
Man, I am experimenting. I got a new camera here, and I just cannot find an angle that I really like. So I'm just gonna be like, because I feel like dead on. I don't really like it. Like I gotta shift how I'm sitting or something. I don't know. I need to clean up this room. I don't know. But welcome to our podcast.
Like, because then I really see this. So.
Well, because then if I twist it too much, like I said, I look super short and the thing's blocking me. Because I don't like to be like right up on my computer. I like to have some like back. Yeah. Some people be like this. Like, what's up? I'm gonna record. I'm like, I'm gonna scoot back. Like I could even be back here, but then it just looks like I disappear in the screen. For those who are just listening, they're like, what are you talking about, dude? Get on with the show. But hey, all right. First thing of news. This is my co-host, James Cole, my heterosexual life mate, Mr. James Cole. What's up, James?
What up, Tyler? How's it going, man?
It's been a rough couple of days. I'm on call for work, and it's always, I never sleep when I'm on call for work because I'm always like,
yeah.
Ready.
Even when you do sleep, it's like the most it's like a restless sleep.
Yeah. But we are the Krypton Report podcast. If you're your first time checking us out, we are an all DC base focusing on Superman. And welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yo.
Yeah, for real. If you can't tell by this shrine of a room that I have here. First things first, it is September. So it is Batman Day / Batman Month. And if you're like, guys, I've been listening for a while. Where's your Batman Day episode? Well, what we've done this year is we've actually done multiple Batman Day specials, but we've been doing them all on our YouTube because they've been more interactive and we've had special guests. So go over to our YouTube. You'll find currently 4 Batman Day specials. We have one more to do this month. And if you're a member of our $1 Patreon, where we go and we do commentaries and special shows, and James does the Gore Report and whatever else appears on there that we end up recording. We did a commentary for the 10-year anniversary of Gotham, and we did the pilot and the finale of Gotham. So over on our Patreon, that's how we honored Batman this year.
Yep. $1 Patreon, Gore Report. We just did Friday the 13th this month. We do the Supernatural Report.
Yep, which we got to record some new episodes for that. So yeah, all kinds of stuff. $1. But today we are going to talk about some news that we have. Also on the Patreon, Janine and I, with the kids, have been going through the Star Wars saga. We are behind. We were doing one a month, but then we had a family tragedy, and that kind of just shifted some things, and we'll get back into them eventually. But let's say we're 5 movies down. And we'll finish them out this year sometime. But first bits of news. We talked about our Batman Day stuff. Let's kick off with the news that happened today. We have our Hal Jordan for the Lanterns TV series. No comment yet if he will be in a movie, but we have Kyle Chandler will star as Hal Jordan in DC's Lanterns. First of all, this is crazy because this wasn't even a name that was talked about.
Nope, it wasn't on the short lists that was running around the internet.
There was no like, oh yeah, hey, Kyle Chandler. That'd be a good one for Hal Jordan.
I think it's a great one.
As soon as I
didn't see it.
Our friend Zach Moore has talked about Kyle Chandler's acting before because he's a big fan of Friday Night Lights. I like Kyle Chandler from back in the day when I used to watch Early Edition with my grandmother. That was a cool show. Of course, Solomon knows him from being Madison's dad in Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, that would have been the most recent thing that I've seen him in.
He was in King Kong, the Peter Jackson film.
I know him from that.
He's been in a lot of like stuff just kind of here and there, like, oh, I know that guy. I think for
Whenever he pops up, I tend to enjoy his portrayal. So
a big movie that I actually liked him in, J.J. Abrams' Super 8. That's a really cool, I think, forgotten movie that J.J. Abrams directed. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'm gonna see if it's streaming anywhere.
I have not.
Oh, bro! Next time you're visiting, we're gonna watch it. Screw.
Oh,
we'll make it.
Sure.
We'll make it.
I'll just wait.
But he's a great actor, and I appreciate that they brought someone. And something that I threw out to you guys earlier, it's not someone who's been in anything else. It's on Hulu. Super 8 is on Hulu, and it's on Freevee. So.
Excellent. No, he hasn't been in a Marvel or a DC or any other like genre related
comic film. Like,
yeah.
So it's not like we're feeling, oh, James Gunn's just bringing people from Marvel. He's just reshifting his people. We got a new fresh face that can actually own the character, that has all the characteristics I want for Hal Jordan. And I'm not like, oh, he's, remember how he did this in Marvel? And
yeah, it just doesn't invite the comparison.
Yeah, it's nice. Like, they were talking about Josh Brolin and things, and I was like, he'd be, okay. Yeah. But
I know we've got caught up. I know we've got caught up in the comparison, but also we like to try and avoid the comparison and talk about what is and not what they've done before.
We wanted Chris Pine. That was a big push because I wanted Chris Pine back when Ryan Reynolds was cast as Hal Jordan. But I'm happy with this. He's going to be on the Lantern series. We're just waiting now for Jon Stewart to be cast. It'll be really cool to see who else. Like, I hope that Guy Gardner appears at least in one part of the Lantern series, or there's some sort of crossover just to build that continuity connection of tissue. So,
yeah, 100%.
But hey, we have Hal for the series, and we just need, like I said, Jon Stewart, and we'll be off to the races. And I hope they go somewhat younger with Jon Stewart, because with the Lanterns, I feel like that's, if we're going to go older Hal, let's have the spectrum. Let's go, if we have Guy, make Jon Stewart, early to mid 20s.
Yeah, I would say Jon Stewart after his like Marine time and some of his study time, like 26 years, 26-year-old Jon Stewart,
late
after
20s.
Some of that experience, kind of going into his architecture career after the military, kind of a thing, to make it younger. And, if it continues forward, they could even do a young artist.
Yeah, exactly.
And that'll be 4 Earth Lanterns there, and there's still 2 more they could easily just throw in instead of
I'm gonna kill this cat. I know, I'm not Catwoman. See, the dogs they obey me. All right, everyone's watching. Like, don't hurt your cat. Get down, Mau. I hate this cat. I love my daughter. All right, so we have our Hal Jordan. Next thing is the Penguin series. The first episode dropped on Max. James, how are you feeling about our good friend Oz Cobb?
Oz Cobb, yeah. I'm at least happy they still call him Oswald Cobb.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it really. I watched the first episode, and it really feels like the kind of the same character from the Batman, and just his world open up. And it's literally his world. He is our primary character. He's on screen the entire time. And that's part of the course, honestly. With the Batman, it was Robert Pattinson on screen pretty much the entire time, in and out of costume. And then now this is the Penguin follow suit. It was good.
I like that the betrayal. Like I had to joke with Jania about like they bring in Sophia Falcone, and
Mhm.
I'm like in the comics she's a thick gal,
Oh yeah.
and then they're like, oh hey, we'll get these skinny ladies because we did have a Sophia Falcone on Gotham, but they're like we'll get these skinny girls to be Sophia. But I like the portrayal of Sophia and Alberto, um, especially like it because last year, if anyone remembers who listened to the show, Jania and I did a whole binge of the Marvelous Miss Maisel after Rachel Brosnahan was cast as Lois, and the guy who plays Alberto was on that show too. So we were both like, "Ha ha, yay!" Um, but that the current Sophia Falcone, played by the mother, if you know what I'm saying.
How I
If you
Met Your Mother.
exactly. um she's psycho, man. Like, and it's crazy because she's psycho and that she kind of takes place after maybe a semi dark victory story because they throw out a term that I said it right before she did and I was all excited. Um
What term's that?
bro, I don't want to spoil nothing. Hangman. Um
Oh, okay.
so I was like, yeah, but it's interesting. Um
No, I heard that. I just wasn't sure which one you were what you were referencing.
But yeah, I mean, Colin Farrell is the whole Oz Cobb thing. People like were getting pissed. I was like, look, Oz is short for Oswald. At any point in time, they can go back to being him calling himself Oswald. Okay. Cobblepot. It's easy to switch back and forth. In the Batman, he's Cobblepot because all the merchandise says Cobblepot. If on this he's Cobb,
Um,
it's very easy to just kind of tweak that oh, your real last name was Cobblepot. Um, and
oh yeah,
now,
Cobb could be kind of an alias last name.
yeah, I mean, and then of course, all the the big fanboys out there were like William Cobb, the talent for the court, and then the producer like, oh no, no, not that. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. People thinking either too hard or the producers don't know enough stuff to know who they're dealing with all this fandom.
Oh, fandom is rough. It is rough, turbulent waters.
Like, I really want to talk more Penguin at the same time, but the first episode was great. If you like the Matt Reeves series, the only thing that I want from this series, okay, is I want one episode for Jeffrey Wright to show up in some way, even if it's on a TV screen, or Officer Martinez. I just need continuity, okay? I because I hate like, and this is something I talked about on my requel Batman Day episode where I added to me, Solomon, and Brian's pitch for the Batman 2 and Part 3 is I hate that you're going to do this series, okay, that's supposed to be so important to set up the Batman 2. But if none of the other characters cross over other than the Penguin, it doesn't feel like it works as well. Like, you're introducing Sophia and Alberto Falcone. Falcone, what do they call this? Don Falcone. We watched Gotham, so I'm trying to remember. It's Falcone. But if none of these other characters make it over to the movie in some way, it doesn't feel as valuable. So I would like someone else from the movie to appear
Right.
in the show.
Is Penguin going to be a primary antagonist in part 2?
I feel like Penguin's just going to be one of those villains that exists and causes problems, but he's not your primary. Like, just kind of like how they did later on in Batman the Animated Series.
Less like firing like missiles and
Yeah,
blowing things up.
he's the information dealer. He's running the new Iceberg Lounge or something. Like, he just it's he knows what he's doing. and
Mhm.
he's just there. So, you
Right.
know, but it's a good show, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. It feels in step with the Batman universe, and I hope to see more from it.
Yeah. At this point, all we can really do is see how the world grows. Um, but it was interesting. I mean, if you know some things about the Penguin, like it does um touch on little bits in just the first episode. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, I wanted to rewatch the Batman before the series, but I didn't get to, so I'm gonna hopefully rewatch it sometime um, this week. All right, the next big thing is we got our last trailer for the final season of Superman and Lois, and I have some of the stills here. Uh, the cape, the tattered cape on the moon. So it means he's going to need a new cape, James. Maybe there'll be a
Ah,
symbol on the back.
oh, maybe.
We have Lois, and then we have like this shot of Superman in the street,
Oh, wow.
and then we have this one here. Um, the trailer's really good. I'm not gonna break it down scene by scene because we'll go over as we enter the series, but it's nice to know that we have that. I watched it twice, once on my own and once with the kids. So I don't want to like go over it, and continue to go over it. But I don't want to be that guy. But isn't it kind of weird that he fought Doomsday in space, and then when he like dies, he's right there back in Smallville. Like he came, like that's where he was dying. He's like must fly to Smallville to die.
Right.
It makes perfect sense.
Family must find me.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I was just being a douche. um, but I'm very much looking forward to it, and I try to be a little funny about it because I'm like I'm gonna be sad, like I'm gonna cry, like I know it, like it's my favorite character, and I've talked about how much this version is meant to me as a father and everything, and then he's gonna be dead, and then we have to watch the family deal with that, and I'm just you know
Yeah. Well, I can see that really for sure. Hitting very close to home. There's some interesting bits in the trailer though. Seeing like John and Natalie both in heads up displays. So they're both
Mhm.
in suits this season. Lex got a suit this season. Um, of course, I mean, shots of Doomsday, shots of Superman dead, laying down, that type of stuff. Like it's a pretty good trailer for the final season.
Oh yeah,
Um, 2-hour event premiere. I can't wait.
I
And
can't
it's
wait.
coming up soon.
Yep. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, on the 7th.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, that's all the news that I had. Well, to continue sort of our Batman conversation, James is now going to sing the Batman theme song in the key of A minor flat. So he's
All I got for you is na 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 na.
and there we go. Uh,
Yep.
we're gonna talk just a little bit about the Batman the Cape Crusader and Kite Man because James completed those over the Batman Day weekend.
Oh, yes, sir, I did. I mean, I'll just start with Kite Man. Save the best for last. Uh, I mean, Kite Man was hysterical. Um, Beast Mode was wild.
Kite Man was so
Like,
dumb but so funny at the same time.
I mean, time travel.
The
I
through a
love that Bane was a primary character
time travel through a toilet, man. Like
through a toilet, pooping in it to go back in time, and then peeing in it to go back forward in time.
I love that the Golden Glider's powers and everything. We had the anti-life equation that just didn't affect Chuck because that's who he is.
Yeah. All he needed in his life was Golden Glider.
I was bummed that I
Dude,
was
her
very bummed.
powers though, like she just obliterated people into red mists.
I was very upset that we didn't get King Shark. Like we got Frank, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Yay!
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
and
like, we're gonna,
Clayface.
yeah, I'm like, we're gonna," and then no King Shark.
Nope. Nope. No King Shark. Hope.
And
Well, I'm sure we'll see King Shark back on season 5 though.
oh yeah, well yeah, but I'm just was like, I was bummed as crap, man. Everybody knows how much I love the King Shark on Harley Quinn. Like, if I could, I would just take all his dialogue and edit it and put
There's
it
some.
in to the Suicide Squad movie and get out the dumb and
Yeah. There. That would Ron Funch's King Shark would be hysterical in the Suicide Squad. Um.
I'm just telling you, it's worth it.
Yeah, it would be hysterical. There's been some interesting portrayals of King Shark over the years. Um, his appearance on Flash, the Assault on Arkham movie, uh, the other animation, uh, even in live action, like, and then the Suicide Squad and Harley Quinn. He's had a lot of iterations of his character. Never the same as one before it.
Yeah, but Ron Funches is the best. Like, okay, so I was watching something on, was it Hulu? Maybe it was Hulu. I don't remember. It was one of those streamers that you pay for that has commercials.
Right.
And it was like some commercial with Ron Funches where he's talking about being an adult and bringing stuff to like a party. And it was like some fruit flavored alcohol. And I wasn't looking at it at the time I was working, and his head on the background. I was like, it just felt like King Shark was talking to me. He's like, you know why I like to go to the party? I was like, yeah, Shark, tell me. So, anyways, yeah, Kite Man. It was if you liked Harley Quinn, give Kite Man a shot. It's not as good as Harley Quinn, but it is fun. It's a quick, easy, like dumb, funny watch, lighthearted. It's got some cool surprises with some characters in it. So
yeah, and the voice acting was the voice actors who were in that show. Just some phenomenal talent. So every time Keith David came on his dark side, I was just sucked in,
I couldn't tell
Him and his
Dark,
Lee Trevinos.
I couldn't tell if it was Dark Side talking to me or if Goliath was coming, and I needed to glide on some gusts of wind. And if you don't get that reference, shame.
For shame. It's available on Disney Plus. Go watch it.
Thank you, James, for the backup.
Gargoyles is fantastic.
Yes, it is. That show is too ahead of its time. The world was not ready for it when it came out. All right. So what else with Kite Man? There were some twists in it, I will say, that were really cool that I don't want to give away, but I really enjoyed.
I mean, Kite Man's been done for a while now.
When Martian Manhunter
I just had to catch up on it.
When Martian Manhunter appeared, that was really cool.
Yeah.
The way
took
he
the anti-life and just
Yep. I like Villigans. Just that
Villigans was fantastic. Yeah.
Just that whole concept was awesome.
I don't see why everybody hates on Bane. Villigans does.
Every time Bane was
Lex
on
Luthor.
every time Bane appeared, all I could think about was you. Like, that's James's character. Explosions! I will save you, my love. He's like, I went back in time to find the most beautiful woman.
It's a wild characterization, but it almost follows the character since he was like the primary antagonist of like the Valentine's Day special.
There was a lot of James jokes that came out of that Valentine's Day special. We'll leave it at that. And that's why James doesn't like my Christmas cards anymore. He's like,
your last one is up on my fridge.
Yes. So, all right. So, Batman, the Cape Crusader. Too many titles. Batman, the Cape Crusader. James, what did you think about Batman, the Cape Crusader?
Some really interesting uses of the characters. Honestly, didn't really hate any of them. I liked a lot. Every episode was a different character. I mean, the first episode, why am I blanking on the first episode? And I just
Well, the first episode would be the one with Oswalda Cobblepot.
yes, there we go. Oswalda, yeah. The gender swap penguin.
It didn't really
She
bother me.
was vicious and crazy, and I loved it.
I wish the only thing I could say about this series was so many of the villains, not all, were one and dones. Because you had, the Harley Quinn version that, arcs over several episodes. But like Oswalda, one and done. Clayface, one and done. Catwoman, one and done. Not that they won't be back, but Onomatopoeia was interesting.
I mean, you probably won't see a Two-Face.
Yeah, but he was, Dent went through the whole series and then was in, 2 episodes, and I liked what they did with Two-Face.
Yeah, it was a very interesting blend of like your Aaron Eckhart type version, your Dark Knight version, and the like the split personality animated type version from before.
I really want to rewatch them all with Jania, because she didn't really. I watched them to kind of distract myself from what was going on at the time. She just kind of didn't, so I plan on trying to slowly rewatch them with her.
Yeah,
I really like the episode Nocturne, which I call the Robbins episode.
Yeah, I like that one too.
I really liked it, but I always think it's interesting how Carrie Kelly was supposed to be this Elseworlds futuristic Robin, but somehow they keep trying to find ways to bring her into like continuity at like current in stories. Or I'm just kind of like, no.
Right. Honestly, gave her the most to do in this one, but you got 4.
I know.
4 of them in that episode.
The only one that I don't want to say I didn't like because it was a good episode was Night Ride, the more Gentleman Ghost based episode. Because I felt like for this show to be this more serious, grounded, set in the 1940s Batman, and I almost thought it was going to be more like a Scooby-Doo type thing.
Yeah.
But for it to actually be a ghost, I was just kind of like, huh. Okay.
Yeah, I actually like that one though. It was pretty cool.
It's a good episode.
I like the ghoulish sensibility.
It just kind of threw me, and I was like, oh. The Harley Quinn thing worked in this, but I really wish it wasn't Harley Quinn, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if they would have called her like just the clown, the jester.
Did they ever call her Harley Quinn? Because they just called her Harleen Quinzel.
Yeah, they called her Dr. Quinzel. I don't know if she ever says like her
I
villain
can't
name.
recall. Yeah, I can't recall any name specifically.
But I
Um,
mean, that's getting into some semantic stuff there. But it was a really good, it's one of those things like I really like this characterization. I like this
yeah.
character, but it doesn't feel like Harley Quinn because that story is so much rooted in her falling in love for the Joker and how he takes her on a dark path, but then how she has to redeem herself and find her own independence and make herself um someone that stands, outside the Joker. Like
Well,
that's a big arc.
she's over 30 years old now, so I really think that it's just I think it's time that she could kind of get her own origin story that was somewhat separate of the Joker. She could have an iteration. It's like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% against you, but at the same time, like, I don't always like it because it's like if you tried to do, well, I mean, it's kind of like in a way when they made Tim Drake Red Robin in the New 52 and just bypassed him ever being Robin and kind of took that away from him.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels like something's missing that's really true to the character. So I don't know. We could discuss that later, but
Right. Well, certainly a different characterization, you know. Um she's kind of crazy in her own way, but still very reserved. Um very intelligent.
it was good. It was good. That's all I got to say. It was good. Good. Good.
Um but speaking of the Joker, did you see that final?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love that we closed out the first season with a tease of the Joker. Because you can't do a Batman series or a Batman show without the Joker. But I'm glad that they decided to wait and not put
Um
him front and center.
yeah, but to the fact of the show, how noir and dark and adult it was, like in the first episode with Oswalda putting one of her sons in a trunk and dropping him in the ocean, in the
Murdering her
bay.
murdering her child like it was nothing.
And it fell down amongst dozens of other trunks.
I was like, whoa. And the fact that it's her other son that set her up and everything, I was like, damn.
Yeah, he was the rat. The other son was the rat.
He was El Ratalata. Am I the one that knows the difference between law and la? But it was, I mean, I
So
really
that
like the show. I don't love it, but I really do like it. And I think it's because you start off little, like the episodes, like the arc of the series is like Batman gets more and more involved. Like the first episode, there's not a whole lot of Batman in it, but each episode he builds. But this is a Bruce who works alone, who actually has a very rough relationship with Alfred. And I do like the more robust Alfred.
yeah. He actually does go through a character arc this season, like because he uses his Bruce Wayne persona to try and bribe um, Renee Montoya, and
Yeah, he
she
does.
won't be bought. So
And he loves
he's
it.
testing. Yeah, he's testing out the waters there. Um, it, it's really good. And then the thing with Alfred, he calls him Pennyworth up until the final episode, and
The one that
he's gonna call him Pennyworth, stops himself and calls him Alfred.
so they are working on that. And I'm just like, good, that gives him somewhere to go. I do like the idea that the Waynes were just like a block away from the car when they were shot and Alfred heard it and came, um So it was
very good characterizations. Hamish's voice.
it sounds better in the show than it did during that tease when
Yeah.
he revealed himself and he's like, and I'm Hamish Linklater.
But it was just like, yeah, it was just like introducing everybody. But when he's actually acting for the show, it's great.
Yeah.
Christina Ricci's Catwoman was awesome. That like original character design, that early character design.
That doesn't make much sense, but we'll go with it because that was the earlier character design. The purple with the dress and the high heels.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We're just like, huh, that makes no sense, but I'll allow it. So,
Flass and Bullock, dude,
this kind of goes back to like you and I talking when we did Gotham about like we can't find a good balance for who and what Bullock should be, and they start using interchangeable like we talked about how Flash a lot of times has been like a Bullock-esque, but Flash is the bad cop. We got the Eckhart, which was only in Batman 89. But this Bullock, man, he is not good.
Yeah, no, he's just a mean, dirty cop. And so is Flass.
Oh,
but he's always been.
Yeah, that's what we expect.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And the biggest
I really enjoyed season 1, and I hope it gets a season 2.
It does. It was a 20 episode order.
Was
it
it?
was yeah.
So cool.
it was it's kind of like My Adventures, whereas it was ordered as 20 episodes.
I was hoping that's the way it was, yeah.
But they say season 2 is in production. I'm just like, season 2 should have been done. You know what I'm saying? Like we needed to release season 2 like early next year or something, like, or honestly, I wish this show had been week to week, just because it would give us something to look forward to talk about, to digest, much like we did with My Adventures with Superman, so we could actually enjoy it instead of like benching it and be, oh yeah, and then nothing. And I'm so surprised that we don't have any kind of merchandise for this. We don't have any like Batman toys, and I know like there was supposed to be, I've seen people post online finding these new like Batman line of toys like at Target and stuff, but I haven't seen them yet. It was like I don't get to go to Target as often as I want because there's not one close by me, but I was trying to, I know, dang me in the rural area of Ohio. But I'm just surprised they didn't, because they make toys for everything. I mean, come on, they made toys for the Batman. Okay. Like, yeah, it's Batman, kids will buy them. Who cares if they can't see the movie?
Right. So, and I mean, it's very dark, but there's nothing horrible there's not like graphic violence.
Yeah, I watched them all with Solomon. He enjoyed it. We very much look forward to it all.
Yeah, so. They don't push the gore limits. That's for sure.
No, they still have a healthy balance, I think, of stuff without going too far.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely more serious than the animated series was.
Yeah. I still think the animated series is still the best balance of being serious and being, what it needed to be. The biggest twist though is oh no, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Oh crap. It'll come back to me. Come back to me. Dang it. The The Spectre, or who should be the Spectre, or one day would be the Spectre.
That's Crispus, right?
No, the other one, the first one.
Corrigan?
Corrigan, yes. Corrigan, the biggest twist in the series. You know, when he turns and tries to murder Barbara because he was the dirty cop, not Flask or Bullock, when they were using Corrigan to protect him in the safe house and it's on a Monopia.
Oh, you know what? I had to step out during the Automatopoeia episode.
Of course you did.
I missed that part.
James. Anyways, go back and watch that now. Spoiler. There you go, James.
Oh, well, thanks. I'll keep an eye out for it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, all right, I'm going to send you this picture here in a little bit of the Batman toy line I was talking about that I can't seem to find that actually exists somewhere in the world. But anyways, yeah, anything else for Cape Crusaders? People got this crap on eBay and I can't even find it in a store that exists.
It's a good show. You know, if you got Prime, go check it out. It's 10 half-hour episodes.
If you got Prime, James, where do you live, James? Everyone has.
I say most everybody has Prime.
It's too good of a deal. That's the problem. You pay for a year, you get free, shipping, and you get the streaming service. It just kind of is a win-win.
Right?
You're like, come on, like Oz would say. Tyler here. Hope you're enjoying the podcast today. I just want to talk about another project I've really been working on. It's the Requel. It used to be just part of our Patreon, and we still do Patreon exclusives, but I've really pumped it up, and I've started inviting friends to join me as we pitch movie ideas. I ask everyone if they can go and check it out. It's under Jonathan Tyler Patrick on my YouTube, and go like it, subscribe, and if you want to come on and pitch an idea, come on. Just check it out. It's a fun time.
I am Brian Peters, the creator and host of Gravely Amusing. For the past 30 years, I've studied the history of gods and monsters in pop culture and our world. As a student of theology and history, I've tried to understand evil and its impact on us. As a writer, I've tried to share this knowledge. As a comedian, I've tried to make people laugh as I do it. But as a man-child, I'm still that scared 7-year-old boy. Join me as I share the history of horror and sci-fi, discuss classic and modern pop culture, and share a creepy story or two. This podcast may scare you, it may horrify you, or it may leave you gravely amused. Listen to Gravely Amusing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter at gravely_amusing or on TikTok at Gravely Amusing.
We have a $1 Patreon. Yes, I know everyone asks for money, but our $1 Patreon each month gets you commentary tracks for releasing movies, DC movies. It gets you my Requel series where I pitch ideas about movie sequels, prequels, or whatever. It also gets special bonus episodes. So check that out for $1 a month. That's all we ask. Keep it cheap, keep it simple, and help us keep going. Check out the link in the show notes or Patreon Krypton Report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
But let's get into some comics. First up today is Action Comics. Oh, where to go? Volume 5. What Lies Beneath. Let's go over to my notes here. And I don't have any notes. This is Action Comics number 25 through 29. Woo. Okay. So, James, just overall, how did you feel about What Lies Beneath?
I was going to say, you want me to read the back?
Yes. Please read the back for us, James.
Underworld. Not many people can say they know Superman's secret identity, but Lana Lang, Clark Kent's childhood friend and first love, is one of few who can. And when Lana finds herself in danger from subterranean monsters years later, who should come to her rescue but her high school prom date, not now known as Superman? Together, Superman and Lana discover an ancient civilization deep under the earth, full of strange and seemingly dangerous inhabitants. Caught in the conflict between our world and the one below, they must determine just who exactly deserves their protection.
All right. That is probably the best part about this. I don't want to say series, but like this run is the fact that it brings in a very strong Lana story. And this is after, um, you know, Lana is now a engineer. So that's something kind of new for her character. And I'm pulling it up on my iPad now. So just bear with me.
Oh, those are cool figures.
Yeah, see, right? It's supposed to be a whole line of Batman toys dedicated to like the movies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, where are these?
Right.
Why
Got
am
the
I not?
Lee Bermejo cover.
Dude, don't even get me started. Okay, like, so real quick, there's the figures. Look, from Spin Master, supposed to be for the 80th anniversary. Okay. And people are saying they found them at Target. And I'm like, sweet. I've been to my local Target, did not find them there. So
Oh wow. 85th 4-inch collectors, huh?
yeah, so we need to go find them, James. But in this collection, I do really like the Secret Origin. Like that Libra Mayo cover, I would love to have a poster of. I really wish back when they used to release posters and things of like certain artwork, and I just feel like that was one that they should have. They never did. Bermejo's art is awesome. He usually does, Batman. I pre-ordered his. Technically, it says Batman Noel, but it's still just the Lee Bermejo Batman figure from McFarlane because I love his art.
Yeah, his Batman is sweet. And this is not his normal Superman. He has a
Right.
normal look to his Superman. But in this one, he draws the New 52 Action Comics, the jeans and T-shirt and cape, and the New 52 suit with the collar and the armored look.
Yeah, because it's a whole evolution of.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cover.
I'm trying to pull like. I really appreciate his art, and I wish that was a poster I had hanging behind me, because it's probably my favorite Superman he's done. His Superman's great in Noel, but just sometimes like it's part of a larger picture, so you don't get to respect and love it as much. But I'm going through here on my iPad trying to get the issue. It did not work how I wanted it to. So the first is, like we said, the Secret Origins, which they did that whole line. That is the most depressing book ever. I'm going to tell you. If you just read Secret Origins straight, is the most depressing book because it's all about tragedy. Like, because everything you get Batman, Superman, it's all much like parents dead, parents dead, parents dead. But this is where we see more about Superman being put in the rocket and Martha and them finding the baby. And I love that the baby breaks Martha's finger. And we have the dual dialogue of Martha as the over the top narrator, as well as Lara. So
It's a special person, Martha, right there. Baby breaks your finger, and you're just like, no, definitely have to keep it.
we have Kenny Braverman, picking on Clark, doesn't want, and Clark's like, I'm not supposed to punch down, and then Martha shows up and beats him with a broom.
It says, more like sideways.
And then it even like his, it's like him going through standing by their grave, but then it cuts back to him with the kid who borrowed his cape that we saw in the Zero issue.
Yeah,
previously. So I really like it. And like, one thing that I've always liked in the New 52 was the cape and the origin. And it's a different, I thought it was in this one, but it's in a different one where you see that it's Jarrell who takes the cape off and puts on Clark, but they don't show it in this. And then the second like random issue that's in this is the Superman tie-in from Batman Zero Year. And it's back to the t-shirt wearing Clark. And what I really liked about this is there's a storm coming, and it's basically Clark / as Superman going up against a hurricane, where he's going to go try to stop a hurricane. This is before he can fly, so he has to hitch a ride. And of course, Lana Lang's there on a tanker, and he's trying to stop these two tankers from colliding, and he's basically trying to fight a storm. And through the efforts of him and Lana, like the tankers are able to not destroy themselves. And it was cool because I've always envisioned a cool opening for like a Justice League movie would be like a big action scene of like the Justice League going up against like a tsunami or like an active volcano or something, where they come in and they're fighting nature and using their powers and saving people. I just always thought that'd be a great visual.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, it's interesting in this one to see like his perspective of trying to like, I'm gonna go combat and weaken this storm, and when he gets out there, he ends up having to rescue ships out there. And it's a nice tie that they've got Lana in this story, especially since the rest of the book has Lana in it.
Lana? Who's Lana? Why does
like
that
she keeps popping? She keeps popping up in his life.
I don't know no Lana. I know Alana. Do you mean that Lana? That Lana Lang?
That Lana Lang, yeah.
It is funny because like maybe it is her name is supposed to be Lana, but just over all the years of hearing Lana, we've just like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, he goes out there and he saves some ships, and then after he washes up on shore, he helps to make more cover for people caught down on the storm, like on the beach and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good book. So, all right, and then we start our issues proper with lunch break, which is Clark. It's a great little setup of him with the super hearing and all the little stuff that he does at the beginning, like how he gives the homeless man, some money and food, saves the lady on roller skates, stops the dude with the gun. He's talking about
all from
everything.
like his seated location.
yeah, and he's talking about his hearing. But then the big crux of the story is Lana with her team drill into the earth and open a gateway that allows
in Venezuela
people from underneath the earth, monsters or creatures or whatever you want to call it, escape. And what we see is this big monster that is attacking that has everyone scared. Clark realizes
like
it's like a kaiju, like God, like Pacific Rim kaiju here.
Nearly, yeah.
He's attacking, but meanwhile, there's this other guy, Ghost Soldier, who can phase through solid matter and is able to stab Superman in the heart and the chest because he phases through him and then reassembles his molecules and leaves a knife in Superman's chest. What a douche.
Yeah.
How dare he?
The phasing allows it to like split the molecules or something, it says.
It's so crap,
interesting.
But we have Superman who basically takes the creature because he realizes it's sentient and it's scared, and he flies it up and basically makes everyone believe he took it and threw it in the sun. And then Lana goes to explore, but really Clark took the creature to the fortress and the fortress, and it's a shapeshifter that then turns more into like a baby that looks very Nightcrawler-y.
Yeah, like a child Nightcrawler almost.
And then there's a great story of him in a tree as a child, hearing his parents talk about him, and he, kind of starts to relay that same thing that he learned to this Baka, Baka child. And of course, Lana goes and explores, and we find, like I said, we find more monsters, and that's where we learn about the underground people who were
Yeah,
basically,
the Subterranea.
yeah, they were locked away so they wouldn't destroy the surface world. And Baka actually is like their prince, and he shapes back into his big lizard Godzilla form and is protecting Lana. And the queen automatically assumes that Lana is the queen of this surface world and thinks that Superman is her slave. So of course Clark, plays along, goes with it. And
Yeah, and Lana has a lot of fun pushing Clark around, calling him slave.
Ghost Soldier shows up, causes problems, and then they find these orbs of energy that Lana thinks should be able to reverse engineered for clean, renewable energy, and they're actually like eggs that hatch these white creatures that, when exposed to sunlight, turn into like massive, big, bestial monsters. And then we get a physics lesson. Did you know that if something's splitting its molecules, the best way to stop it, James, is to what? Freeze it.
Freeze it.
And then we have a great thing where Superman says the only way that he was able to stop Ghost Soldier was to freeze him, but it ended up killing all the other life around. I was trying to find the exact quote. He's saying, "I'm sorry." Everything on this planet is made of particles, even ghosts, and particles can freeze. Of course, so can everything else. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I blame you. So it was. And then, of course, the military shows up with missiles. So that's what they do. Superman has to say goodbye to Baka. And they
Well,
return.
aren't they from the tower?
Which? The missiles?
Yeah, the drones from where
Yes.
Ghost Soldier is being relayed orders from.
Yeah, unmarked military with enough
Yeah.
daisy cutter bombs to incinerate everything within half a mile. And then Superman grabs a giant rock and closes up the portal, and then goes and blows up all of the drone bombs. And then him and Lana hang out. And then Superman says he's got a good idea, and he goes and flies back where the orders came from, and we say nothing can prepare him for Harrow. And that was volume 5. I found it an enjoyable read. Nothing great other than like the secret origin, and but I like seeing the Clark and Lana relationship.
I mean, same. I enjoyed this. It was mostly, an easy read. It was the Secret Origin was really good. The first issue was the best. But and that was really fast too. But it just conveyed a lot. But everything that happens here, it's I mean, everybody's doing kind of what they have to do. Like Baka's the prince, Superman knows what's going on down there, but everybody has to go back to their worlds kind of thing.
And then James will lead us into the one issue from volume 6, because volume 6 is the doomed volume. There's like one issue that James pointed out that didn't connect with the doomed story. So James will now talk about that.
It was kind of like the finale to that issue, to that storyline. He just takes Ghost Soldier back to the tower. He freezes everybody at the tower. It's like in the mountains, so it's kind of frozen all around it, anyways. So he freezes all the ghosts in there, and he enters in, and he's talking and fighting with Harrow, and talking about the monsters and everything that's happening. That all of the soldiers, like she controls all the soldiers, like she raises the dead. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be alive. All those kind of things.
Which is crazy because I just thought, at first, like Ghost Soldier was because he could phase. It was just a cool nickname, but no, they kind of went really dark with it.
Yeah. Well, like she has the ability to give them that power. And then raise the dead. And they just he's Superman is pretty upset about the whole thing. And she releases all of the soldiers, and eventually we see her later on when they're fighting against Zadu in the fortress in the Doom story.
Zadu. All right.
Yeah, they say next time, Superman, we will kill you, and then you can join us if you're still willing. Like the Ghost Army.
This isn't Lord of the Rings.
It's very reminiscent of that Ghost Army from Return of the King.
Bro, it still baggles my mind that Aragorn couldn't have been like, hey, I'm going to free you guys, but first, march to Mordor with me. Let's stop Saruman, and then you'll be free. Sure, bro. We'll do this with you. All right.
Go kill all the orcs at Mordor.
Exactly. Every time I watch that scene, I'm just like, you couldn't have been like, hey, I need your help on 2 things. Then you're free. But he was a man of his word. He was a good dude. All right. So let's look at this next one. Volume 7, Under the Skin. So Volume 7 is weird. And we'll talk about it. But
Welcome to Horrorville.
Yeah. So this is right up James's alley. We have Clark.
I feel like I have to reread
it. Yeah. This is 2 months after Brainiac's attack. He's not really back as Superman after the events of Doomed yet. Lana is with John Henry in Smallville. And all of a sudden there's like this fog that comes into Smallville. And somebody dug up Lana's parents.
Who had died.
Yeah, who had died during Doomed.
Coma during Doomed.
And Superman goes flying in and hits like a dome where he can't get in. And then who does he call for help? But Hero, the toy man. And then we have an oversized night security guard cop who, meets his fate because that's what happens. Poor guy. But we start seeing horrific images in Smallville, these monstrous looking things, and Clark is able to make it in there, and he finds Lana's dead parents, and him and Lana have, after having just read the previous one where they're like buddies, to see how she almost blames Clark for not being able to save her parents was a really stark contrast. And Clark is flying as fast as he can, but he can't get free. And then we see the people of Smallville with their eyes glowing gold, like James on Sunday nights.
Why on Sunday?
I don't know. It's the first one that popped in my head. All right, fine. James on Wednesday nights when we never record. That's how James glows. That's how James glows. That's how you glow.
That's how I glow.
My ears itching. So
Yeah, it's interesting the people in Smallville have that have a psychic power left over from Brainiac from the coma.
yeah, and it's interesting how they're basically the premise is these creatures are escaping the Phantom Zone, and they were keeping them in check. But the fog is there to help keep these creatures in, and they're trying to send them back. And it's this, man, I would almost, it looks very almost Lovecraftian in a way, but I mean, it's just a jumble mess of a monster.
Yeah, they've got Ultra Humanite in there as like the monster, and I thought it was like between their world, between Earth and the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, it's crossing over, but yeah,
Like it's when the breach happened, but
the big we get the Kents get brought back, but it's Ultra Humanite who is in the Phantom Zone. But now, like, we're so used to seeing the Ultra Humanite in like more normal bodies. He's in this massive conglomerate amalgam of a monster.
yeah,
I mean, it's weird looking. I don't know how to describe it. And then there's all these spores, like squid looking spores that are attaching to people. And it's, Steel's got um, his liquid steel, his organic living steel that helps slow down your emotions because they're attaching to your emotions. And he shares it with Clark, which is pretty sweet looking, because this is bearded Clark who's in his Superman suit.
right. Yeah, it's a good look.
But eventually Clark wears the line. He says, "My heart explodes, all the terror, come and get it now, you son of a," and then Clark going through all his emotions and using that emotional energy back at the monster.
Yeah. Like that's what Ultra Humanite is feeding on, like human emotions. Um and in particularly like terror, like the fear and terror in you.
Um, and and basically it swallows Superman up, and then of course he is out because basically he says they're finally full. He released all his emotions till the creatures could not absorb anymore, and then they're able to return it back where it goes. And then him and Lana make up at the end, and uh, the next issue I don't even want to talk about. So, but you can talk about it because I hate Bizarro.
The Bizarro issue. Yeah. He
I don't
basically
mind.
just falls through a portal.
Let's get it straight. I don't mind Bizarro as a character, but I cannot stand anytime Superman gets sent to Bizarro World. The whole issue is in Bizarro speak. I just am done. So I'll let James
Yeah.
talk.
Well, I'm not going into Bizarro speak, but he goes to Bizarro World. He goes through a portal, goes to Bizarro World, a square Earth with a cheese block for a moon. Of course, he meets Bizarro, Superman, Lois. He's fighting him, and then Metallo is he's got tech, and of course he kind of thinks normal and logical. So he's like the hero of the world, stopping the Bizarros from destroying their world and having a place to be. Doomsday shows up on that world. I don't know, breaks free from the Phantom Zone or something, uh, and Bizarro destroys Doomsday in a manner, and he gets infected with Doomsday and becomes Doomzarro.
That's just, yeah.
It was ridiculous, and I don't know what the design is, why it has antlers. but it is really weird. And then when he goes to Earth, when he starts to spread his death spores, turns into like fairies and cherubs and bunnies and flowers and birds and gnomes and like all kinds of like pretty and trippy things.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful, James.
Right?
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
I'm sorry. I just cannot, like, it's just one of those things. I just can't get behind it. I just can't do it.
it is really funny how he sees like Bizarro, him, and Doomsday sitting on his antlers. I found it very amusing them talking to him. Just kind of representative of how Superman fought Doomsday in his head the whole time.
It's true.
It was funny. But Bizarro um, freed himself of the infection, like flew into like their blue sun or something. And then he shows back up and Superman leaves. That's it.
All right. Thank you, James.
Actually, it really ends with Bizarro just pushing his face and giving him a thumbs down,
Yeah,
which is
so
really a thumbs up. So,
uh the the next issue is kind of a it's kind of a one-off, and I actually really enjoyed this one. Um hold on, I'm trying to pull something up here. Where is it? Well, maybe I don't have it. Oh, crap. All right. Well, not trying to pull something up and it's not working. But it's Crossroads, and it starts with Clark planting seeds basically in a desert. 5 years from now in Ethiopia, he's talking about planting seeds, and basically this, I guess you can call it the energy essence of him comes to life, and we have this lady who's about to commit suicide who goes to jump off, and she starts flying. This other guy is getting beat up and is given power, and then he beats back and kills the guys that were beating him up. A child is given power to protect his mom from an abusive, I think it's is it his dad or stepdad?
well, it's supposed to be his dad, but then as soon as the kid has the invulnerability, he like denies that it's his kid and stuff.
And then this entity, the entity, it looks like Superman made of like golden sand, is what it looks like. He comes back to each one of them and tells them that they were given a gift and to make a choice. And then we see basically all of them kind of in the hospital, and the lady who wanted to commit suicide is there to see this, the social worker. The guy who thought he was super strong broke his hand on a wall. And then there's the kid there with his mom, and he sees the lady who was going to commit suicide, and he says, "You look sad. You can have a sip of my soda if you want." And then at the end, the entity shows Superman. He says, "Oh, he says, truthfully, I cannot say. Perhaps I was born of mystic residue from your final encounter with Mr. Mxyzptlk, or perhaps I arose to fill the gap you left when you turned your back on the world. But all of your many abilities, the greatest has always been your power to inspire, to spur others on to strive to reach their full potential. Even Lex Luthor drove his his genius further than he ever would have without you, the hatred. I have followed your example on my way. I've reached out to dozens of people who stood at the crossroads in their lives, and I gave them an opportunity to realize their potential and make a change. Some chose to better their lives, those of the people around them, and others failed. And I found that with each encounter, I grew stronger. Somehow, by helping others, I realized their potential, my own increased as well. Now I'm finally strong enough to repay your inspiration through one final challenge. And he basically ignites himself in the sky and kind of rains down as seeds and topsoil, rich topsoil. With the proper irrigation, the local people will be able to farm this land for generations. His final challenge, he restored the land's potential. And then Superman's, unless he meant the challenge was whether I'm living up to mine. And that's how the issue ends. I like that one.
Yeah.
It was really weird at first because I wasn't sure like what was going on. But I really liked it. What'd you think?
I liked it, going from each person to the next, different things happening to them. The way it came together in the end, showing up to all of them and seeing what all of them went into, and then showing up to Clark in the end and like fixing the topsoil there. Like even a good residue of his energy, like left over from that battle with Mr. Mxyzptlk, was able to help renew that area.
So there we have it. That's the end of volume 7. Now, for everyone listening, our next will be, what we're going to read is we're going to read Superman Truth and Action Comics Volume 8 Truth. We're going to read a volume of Superman and a volume of Action going forward to try to just see how that plays out, because this is the turning point where Superman gets depowered and he gets exposed. So our next conversations will kind of be how the two titles play into each other, hopefully fixing some of the confusion that we've run into. But our goal is to finish out the year with all the super titles of basically Superman, should I say, titles of the New 52. And then we'll, catch up on comics and everything in the future,
Yeah, by then we'll be talking about absolute power.
Yeah, we will. That's we'll do some catching up on comics in December, so that's the goal. All right, so
Keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah. So that is our goal, everybody. All right. Anything else? Any thoughts, people? All right. Good. Nobody had any comments. The class was pretty silent. So what do you think, James?
Well, I mean, right here it's just a class of 1.
I know. But all right, let's get out of here. Everybody, thanks for chilling out with us, hanging out with the Krypton Report. James, always a pleasure. We hope everyone's had a great September. Check out our YouTube for our Batman Day specials. Check out our $1 Patreon to check out the Gore Report and our other specials. You can always find us here on Krypton Report. And check out James on X, Twitter X. He's a fun dude.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Superman. Yeah.
So remember,
Look up in the sky.
we want to thank you for checking out the Krypton Report podcast, and we ask you to check us out on all of our social media, on Twitter X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Hive, Threads, YouTube. We're everywhere. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, just send us a message and let us know.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope